I think that Trump will only be brought down by a self-inflicted wound that even he can't talk away. She's doing pretty well at the moment. She's keeping steady. Aside from the mastery of Twitter, I mean, Trump's tweets are totally misspelled, by the way, which I don't think is true. It's just mind-blowing. I don't really see any peril, because the thing about Modi is he is fiercely intelligent. Sedition just seems to me completely anachronistic as an idea. And I'm just amazed that that itself can't be changed, the law of sedition.
What are the special set of challenges that covering somebody, a candidate like Trump, poses for the editor in America today?
I don't think editors see it as a challenge so much as just falling flat on their faces to give him as much space as they can, as far as I can see. I mean, he has, he glories in his free media. He's spent the least of anyone on advertising because he just gets so much coverage. TV just loves him because of the ratings, so he doesn't bother much with print. It's for him a waste of time. Why bother? I mean, he can phone into any TV station and commandeer the airwaves. Does all the time. Says who he wants to interview him, gets what he wants, and he puts the ratings up. So he's just had a tremendous amount of coverage, and he continues to have it. And there's a bit of more soul searching now about it, because there's a sudden realization that this guy is winning state after state and could really wind up with the nomination. And I think there's much more, just at this particular moment, the Stop Trump movement is gaining momentum. And I think media are beginning, one particular cable show was sort of chastised for being too softball with him, because they just completely sort of, it was just sycophantic stuff. And they did get chastised. But the challenges are, I think, to keep on fact-checking him and finding new ways to shock people. I was very amazed because, for instance, the Daily Beast, my old haunt, did an excellent piece 4 or 5 months ago saying that Trump Tower was built by a huge, an enormous bunch of illegal Polish immigrant workers, right? And in fact, Trump at the time, he had to settle a lawsuit over the fact that he'd used illegal aliens, as he would put it, to build Trump Tower. And I thought this is so great. I thought, this piece is terrific. It'll ruin Trump. But amazingly, it didn't get any traction at all. I didn't understand.
It's a corollary to this. Would you say that the media actually has the power to make or break someone like Trump? Because exactly what you're saying, on one hand, he's got a lot of publicity, free of charge from the channels. And there's been a lot of feeling that, in fact, the media has helped make Trump.
Yes.
Right? So, would you agree with that? But on the other hand, for instance, I did watch Megyn in that Fox, the last debate, and she and the other anchor, whose name I forget, both challenged him on facts, and they actually put it out on his desk. They were excellent.
Yes.
So, the media there did challenge him, and yet it doesn't seem to have made any difference. So, there's a kind of contradiction there, isn't
Well,
there?
he's got so far. I think, because he tells so many lies, it's this huge critical mass. I mean, the interesting thing is that a straight politician could be brought down by those lies, but because
do you think the media will decide?
No, I think that Trump will only be brought down by a self-inflicted wound that even he can't talk away.
Okay, and so supposing it is, as everyone thinks now, Hillary versus Trump, what's going to happen in your opinion?
Well, actually, I mean, it looks good for Hillary in that, Trump is only popular with these crazy primary voters. In the overall Republicans, he has very high negatives. The overall Republicans are in a state of hysteria about, what they've done to themselves, because the truth is it's all their fault. I mean, when John McCain put Sarah Palin on the ticket, that was the opening of the kind of Kardashian politics, in a sense. And it's gone from bad to worse ever since, and now we've got Trump. So they're finally understanding that they've committed suicide. They're trying to work up some kind of determination to get around with Ted Cruz, but they hate Ted Cruz just as much, because in many ways he's just as dangerous and terrible. In fact, maybe more so, because he actually seems more plausible. I think they've missed the boat with the other candidate. So it looks good for Hillary in that, although she has very high negatives too, she may even get she may even get some moderate Republicans out of it. The danger could only be if the Bernie Sanders supporters, who are so... Well, no, who just don't vote. They may just decide that we're going to sit this one out. You know, we don't, as a protest. She's doing pretty well at the moment. She's keeping steady. She's had some reverses, but she's not a candidate who has been, you know, white men now don't like her, and young people don't like her. Yeah. So, you know, it's tough being Hillary. It really is. I mean, she deserves this presidency now. And I mean, when you see what she's up against, really, it's quite frightening.
You talked about how Trump now no longer believes that regular media, if he doesn't get coverage, that really isn't important to him anymore. Do you see any parallels with Mr. Modi here? Because he doesn't regularly interact with the media. He basically interacts through his Twitter account. He's very popular. And to him, media doesn't really seem important anymore.
Aside from the mastery of Twitter, I mean, Trump's tweets are totally misspelled, by the way, which I don't think is true. It's just mind-blowing. I don't really see any peril, because the thing about Modi is he is fiercely intelligent. I mean, you know, whatever anybody might disagree with him, he's fiercely intelligent. And he's extraordinarily autodidact, too. I mean, he reads everything. I mean, everyone that I know, I'm sure you hear the same, he is a huge devourer of information, a huge devourer of you know, he reads everything. That is not true of Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump, seriously, recently is hysterical. The only ththing he watches is this morning talk show, Morning Joe, which is the sort of, you know, the sort of slightly fashionable, 300,000 people watch it, but it's the Beltway group. And so that only knowledge of foreign affairs he gets is the 10 minutes on the treadmill when he looks at a bit of Morning Joe. So he was asked, you know, who he would make his Secretary of State, and he said, "Oh, I think Richard Haas would be great." And you know, Richard Haas actually is a very smart guy. He's on Morning Joe a great deal. He said, "Oh, and Waleed, that guy Waleed." So there was a lot of consternation, like, and then everybody figured out he must have meant Fareed Zakarian, who's the guy with the other talk show. So it's like, which is probably the other thing he watches for 10 minutes. So of course, I texted Richard Haas and I said, you know, you have real serious competition from Waleed, you know.
You know, recently we had this whole JNU, the Jawaharlal University thing, where a couple of students have been charged with sedition. So this is in fact spreading to a couple of other universities in India as well. I just wanted your opinion on.
I can't believe that something called sedition even exists.
Yeah. So you know, similarly in American universities, I mean, you can pretty much say what you want at any point, and there's not going to be any backlash to it.
Well, we have different problems actually, which is that completely different, which is the sort of the tyranny of the students over free speech now is our problem. I mean, now everybody's, you know, having to rename everything because it's, you know, might trigger certain emotional, traumatic experiences. In a way, that's just a kind of political correctness on a binge, you know, and it'll self-correct, which is the great thing about America, really. Things go wildly in one direction and then wildly in the other. I mean, the fact that we're the country that could, you know, elect Obama, you know, the first African-American president, you know, hope, unity, you know, all of the things he talked about, and then wham, you know, you're right back into this crazy scene with Trump. So it is a very good thing about the US, that free speech. You can pretty much say what you like, and it is the great thing about the country. The only thing is that again, the digital soundbite thing has made people very, very scared of any kind of candor, because it just bites you ferociously, and you can have a career ended by the wrong soundbite. Sedition just seems to me completely anachronistic as an idea, and I'm just amazed that itself can't be changed, the law of sedition.